Welcome back to day 6 of 24 of personal branding. Today, we're going to talk about your content pillars. We'll get into what's a content pillar, why you need to know what yours is, how they can help you, what they help you do, and how to pick the right one. So let's get into it. So the technical definition of a content pillar is content pillars, also known as content buckets, are themes or subjects that your brand can use to develop content. Think of these as categories that you can separate your content into. So this is the how or the solutions of what you do. So I'm going to give a couple of examples of everything you have so far, and how your content pillars can play into that. So I'm going to give myself as an example first, and then I'm going to talk about one of my clients. So my industry is marketing. My niche is I help women be their own boss and feel good doing it. That's also my tagline, which we'll get into in another lesson. My offers right now is I offer a one-on-one program called Elevate, and I offer a mastermind called Karma. So you can either work with me where I pretty much do everything for you, mentor you one-on-one, or where I do things with you. I mentor you in a group setting, and we co-create your personal brand and your online presence. My content pillars are how I help women be their own boss and feel good doing it. And I do that in 4 ways. So normally you're going to have 3 to 5 content pillars. So my content pillars are: number 1, create an online business. I help people, whether they already have a brick and mortar business, I help them take it online, or if they're just starting out, I help them create an online business. That is what I'm really specialized in, that I help people take their business online or create a business online. Number 2 is I help people build a personal brand. So figure out pretty much what this entire program is, what your personal brand is, and that's going to help you do all the other things. Number 3, I teach people and implement for one-on-one clients digital marketing. So now that we have your online business, we have your personal brand, we're going to help promote it and grow your business and your personal brand using digital marketing. So I'll talk about websites, I'll talk about email funnels, I'll talk about social media. Those all go into digital marketing. And then my 4th content pillar is alignment. So physical and mental wellness, and making sure that things align with what your personal brand is when you're making decisions. So that is the element of feeling good doing it. And that is kind of when I was looking at things that I'm really interested in. I'm really interested in wellness and mental health and having it all, right? Being able to be a career woman and have a marriage and be a mom, that was really important to me. And not just for myself, but for the people that I work with. I want them to have that too, and also be building a business of what they're excited about doing, being able to give back because they're creating such a big impact, creating an impact in the way that they want to and is meaningful to them. Those are all things that are really important to me, and that came up for me when I was going through those questions that I gave you on the 2nd day. And that 4th pillar is, 1, my way to incorporate all of that, but it's also a way to differentiate myself from any other personal branding, digital marketing type person, because I do have that element in there. Okay, so now I'm going to give you the example of my client, Taylor. He is the owner of Lead with Hospitality, and his industry is hospitality. His niche is leadership development for hospitality companies. The things that he offers is keynote speeches, workshops, not shots, content licensing, and books. And the way that he is able to help develop these leaders within hospitality companies is these 4 things. He teaches them to connect with each other. He teaches them to serve their team. He teaches them to create engagement within their teams. And he teaches them how to be an inspirational leader. Those 4 things, when he does those, it creates powerful leadership within these hospitality companies. So because he has those 4 things, he's then able to create the workshops and the content licensing things that go under each of those categories. And then, for example, his book and his keynote speeches cover all of them. So that kind of gives you an idea how they bounce off of each other, right? So when he first started with offers, he had his book first, and he knew what those 4 content pillars were because they were within the book. And then from there, he was able to go deeper on each one and offer a workshop, offer trainings just on one of those pillars. So it allows you to have a North Star, but be able to expand from there. Because then each of those content pillars, there's things that go under that, but it then all makes sense, right? And you kind of have a direction of what to focus on, and you'll realize if you're going too much in one direction. So for him, for example, we'll focus on just one of the pillars for a certain amount of time, say 8 weeks, and we'll really focus on promoting the workshop that goes along with that. So if we're creating all content around how to connect with your team, we're going to also be promoting the workshop that teaches you how to connect with your team, because the people that are following and are engaged in that type of content are obviously interested in that, and they would be the most likely interested in an offer that has to do with that, versus us talking all about connecting with your team, but then we're promoting a offer that is about serving your team, right? I mean, it still goes together, but it's not as aligned as if we were to do it the way that we do, right? So the reasons that you want to have your content pillars is, one, it's going to help build your trust with your people. It's going to build your authority in what you do, because you're being consistent on what you're talking about, what you're sharing, you're providing value. And by doing it this way, you're able to really be strategic about what you're sharing and making sure that you're hitting those different content pillars so people realize all that you do. When we're just kind of randomly trying to create content, if we're like, okay, well, I do digital marketing and personal branding, so let me do a post about how to get more engagement on Instagram, and then I'm going to do a post about choosing your brand colors, and then I'm going to put out an offer on how to build a website funnel. Like, those are all things I do and I know how to do, but if I'm kind of scattered like that, it's not going to help me sell anything. It's not really going to build trust. It's going to kind of seem like I'm all over the place, right? And it's going to be a lot slower to build doing it that way versus being very strategic about what you're focusing on when, and having a goal in mind as, this is what I want to be known for. So that's what I'm going to put offers out about. And that's what I'm going to put content out about. Because the great thing about digital marketing that I love so much is that you get to control the narrative, right? I came from a journalism background, and many of the people that had stories being told about them on the news or being reported, they can't control the narrative, right? It's a journalist or some other person writing the story, filtering it how they want to. Whereas when you're doing your own social media, your own website, your own blog, your own podcast, your own offers, you're literally writing the story of how you're being perceived. So you want to be strategic about that, right? So the next thing that you get from having content pillars is clarity and focus. So you know, like I was saying, what to create content about, what to create your offers around, and you don't have to keep reinventing the wheel of what am I going to talk about now. It makes it very easy. I also have a system for how I build out my digital marketing strategies, which I'll probably do a training on that, but I do have a podcast on that already. But once you have these content pillars, your niche, your industry, and then you also implement the strategy level, it makes it so much easier to show up consistently online and to get the results that you want versus inconsistent results. It's also going to help you grow more quickly. Like I was saying, with picking a smaller niche, if you also have these specific content pillars that you're focused on, you're able to position yourself as an expert of those things because you're very focused on creating content about those things. And for a long time, I would get so frustrated with people that were close to me because they didn't understand what I did. And ask your family and friends what you do and see if they actually know. But I realized it was my fault. I wasn't being clear enough and consistent enough online and in my messaging and what I told people, that they didn't know what I did. And to be honest, for a while, it was because I didn't know what I did either. I did a little bit of this, a little bit of that, like jumped around, changed my mind 15 million times. And it wasn't until I decided what I was doing and what I was focusing on and what my priorities were. And then I consistently created content about it and showed up and created offers around those specific things, that randomly in conversation, people would say something about me doing personal branding. And I like got so excited because I was like, finally, like I'm being clear enough that people know what I do. And that's honestly, if you're good about creating relationships too, just people knowing what you do is going to help you so much. Even if you don't have the strategy down to a T, just being consistent about putting out things that clearly are like, hey, this is what I do, but you want to do it in a value-based way, like not just putting out sales posts over and over again. But if you're sharing articles or tips about a certain content pillar consistently, people are going to know that that's what you do, right? So when, say, you're a bookkeeper and you have connections, whether they're business connections or friends or family, and you're consistently putting out content, whatever your pillars are, then when those people that you have relationships with need a bookkeeper, or they hear someone saying they need a bookkeeper, they're going to think of you. There's been so many times that someone has said to me that they needed a certain type of person to do something for them. And I've thought about someone, but then I was like, but I'm not really sure if that's what they do, because you're just not showing up consistently and being clear enough about what it is that you do. So I'm not going to refer them to you if I'm not even clear if that's what you do. And then they're going to be like, they don't even do that. Or maybe that might be what you do, but I don't know that, right? So that is one of the biggest benefits, is to really grow and become more known in that space. Also, if you're consistently creating content and offers around specific things, and especially if you're specifically focused on, say, one content pillar at a time, you can then see how it's working. If you're randomly putting out all types of different content, all types of different topics, some things are good, some things aren't, you can't really keep track of it. There's too many variables. So I know it's like one of the hardest things to stick to something when you're like not seeing the results, but it's like a science experiment. You can't keep changing everything. And then some days are good, some days are bad, and you don't know why. It's because you're changing too many things. Create a strategy and a plan and get clarity, and then just be consistent with it for 3 months. And then you can look at the analytics, see what you think worked, what didn't, and change one thing. Don't try to change a billion different things, right? Because that's how you continuously get better. I felt like for so long I was on this hamster wheel, and like some months were amazing. I would hit 10K months, and then all of a sudden the next month I would have a $2,000 month and I wouldn't know why. And it was because I wasn't consistently doing the same things long enough that I could see what led to what. It was just scattered actions. And like I said earlier, scattered actions give you scattered results. So you need to get the clarity first before you can be consistent. And having these content pillars is going to help you do that. So let's get into how to actually figure them out, right? So I want you to grab everything you have from the previous lessons. Make sure you have what your industry is, what your niche is, and what the first offer is that you're going to focus on. Then I want you to brainstorm ideas that fall under your niche, your industry, and your offer. So just list out as many things that you think make sense with what you do. So let's say, for example, you are a esthetician. Your industry is beauty. Your niche is you're an esthetician. Maybe you haven't gotten super deep with your niche yet, so it's just esthetician. And just start writing. And the offer is you do facials, right? So what are all the ways that you're going to help people? I would actually make the niche more specific, like you help people clear up acne. Let's say that. So you're an esthetician, your niche is you help people clear up acne, and you do facials is your offer. So I want you to list out literally everything that if you were to sit down with someone, and they were like, tell me how to get clear skin. I have really bad acne, because that's your niche. What is everything that I could do? And just start writing it down. Maybe it's drink more water. Maybe it's certain supplements. Maybe it's certain foods that they should eat, certain foods they should avoid. Maybe it's a specific facial you offer. Maybe it's certain products that you recommend, which, by the way, if you're going to recommend products, I would set up an affiliate. Maybe it's how often, like their routines, how often they wash their face, how often they get a facial, how often they dermaplane, if they should do that, why they should do that. Just list out literally everything you know about how you can help them solve that problem about their acne. And then look at your list of everything you have and take your time with this. This is live right now, but if you're watching the replay, you can put me on pause or go back to the replay and see if you can group things. So you might realize you can group things by nutrition. So that would be things they should eat, shouldn't eat, water intake, things like that. And then maybe you realize you can group things by things they can do at home. So products you recommend, routines you recommend, things like that. Stress. And then let's say your other pillar is things that you do, things that you can actually do to help them. So that might be different treatments you offer, like how often you recommend coming in, things like that. So then you have your 3 things. Let's go through another example. Let's say you're in the wellness industry and your niche is you help new moms get back to their pre-baby body. So then you're going to, and your offer is, let's say you do one-on-one coaching and you have a 1-year package. So you're going to write down literally everything that you could do or tell them that would help them get back to their pre-baby weight. So maybe it's doing an audit of how they currently eat, thinking about how they ate before, and how to create a plan from there. Maybe it's certain supplements or nutrients that they really need after, especially if they're breastfeeding, or to help them get more milk during that phase and still be able to lose weight. Maybe it's certain workouts. Maybe it's stress management. So let's say you put it then into the categories of workouts, nutrition, and mental wellness. Then you're able to, you have your offer right now, but in the future, you're able to get deep and create offers or content about each of those different things. And it makes it a lot easier because versus showing up and just being like, what am I going to create today? I don't know. Let me look around my room and see if I can think of something. Instead, okay, I'm focusing on nutrition for new moms that want to lose weight. And I already have this list of ideas. Which one do I want to do today? That is a very different vibe and so much more strategic and focused, and it's going to be so much more valuable and easier and more fun for you than just sitting down and trying to figure it out from there, right? Okay. So once you have your list and you group it ideally into 3 to 5 groups. If you still need help, clarity, I want you to answer these questions. And again, these questions are going to be in a worksheet inside the free program. And I'm going to put the link in the description if you're not signed up yet. Okay, so these are the questions. What does your brand want to be known for? What do you want to be known for? If you ever heard someone talking about you, what do you want them to say? So, for example, like me, I don't want people to say that I help people build a successful online business and I make them work 20 hours a day and I don't want them to sleep. And right, I want them to say that I help them build a business that's successful, but it's doing what they love. And they get to be a mom, they get to be a wife, they get to take care of their home, they get to be a dog mom, they have time to join a bowling league. Like, they're living their best life. I don't want them to say that they're grinding or they're hustling. Not that we don't work hard, but when you're working hard and it's aligned and it's what inspires you and you're still able to prioritize all of your other priorities, that's where I want to be at. That's what I want people to say about me. So what is it you want people to say about you? Because that might be how I have that fourth pillar of alignment and wellness that differentiates me. This might be the thing that you add in there that's going to be your differentiator, if that's a word. Okay, so next question is, what topics do you think are going to help you position yourself as the person that does what you do? And that creating content around that is going to help you step into what you want to do. So I know some people I've worked with have made pivots. So keep in mind where it is you want to go and what you want to be known for in the future based on where you want to be in the future, which might be completely different than what you're doing now, right? Okay. Think about your audience. Why do people come to you? What do they ask you about? So just list out anything that people have asked you about, have come to you about, that maybe your clients often ask about, or if we're going back to the esthetician example, I know when I've gotten facials, I ask all types of questions. I'm like, how do I get rid of this random mark on my head? How do I get rid of my under eye circles? How do I make my skin look really glowy? Write all that down that people ask you because they're telling you things that they would be interested in, and that's already a client, right? So if you create content around that, you're going to attract more people like that person, and that person buys from you. So those people will probably also buy from you, right? And that person that already buys from you, they're going to see your stuff more because you're posting things they're interested in and they're going to engage with. And then you're going to be top of mind. So when they're going to create a Christmas list, you might be on there, right? Let's see, next question. What areas do you have something valuable to add? Even if maybe it's not what they're asking, but you know it would help them. So now moving on from what they've actually asked, a lot of programs I've been in and people I've worked with, they use the method of what do they say it? Tell them what they want, give them what they need. So, for example, with building an online business, a lot of you guys want to make money. You want to make money from your home. So you could be home with your kids or your dog or just not have a horrible boss, right? That's what you want. You probably don't want to know how to build a website and deal with the technical difficulties that anytime you post, there's 5 different issues and they change 20 different things. And it's really overwhelming because there's so many platforms and right. But that's what you need. you need to know how to navigate that, or you need someone to do it for you. But if you're not in that place yet, you need to know, right? So I'll talk a lot about creating passive income, building multiple streams of income, those types of things, doing things in alignment because you hate your boss. You want to be home with your kids and you can't. But then when I'm actually working with you, I'm going to give you the back end of what you actually need so that you can get those results you're after. But if I didn't talk about the results that you want and what you want, you probably wouldn't listen to me going on and on about how to build an email funnel, right? You might not even know what that is. Like, why do I care? But right? So think about what they actually need and think about what they want and make sure you're incorporating both into your offers, into your content. Because if you're just, even in content, if you're only putting out what people want, they're probably not going to get the result they want, right? For example, it's really hard to build passive income or an online business if you don't have the tech side done. I know a lot of people make it just seem very glamorous. But you have to know the tech side to be able to do that, right? You have to know what tools make sense for you. But that's not sexy. That's not fun. But you need it, right? What challenges is your ideal customer facing that you can help solve? So again, think about things that people have asked you. Think about if you've ever been in that situation of what your ideal person is. What did you lay in bed at night thinking about? What was it that you're like, how am I going to figure this out? And then what type of solution is interesting to them? So like I was saying, lead with what they want, give them what they need. But you have to do both. And if you don't know, if you're like, I have no idea, you can use Google to search, to find different topics, look at other people. What are they talking about? And ask people. Ask people you've worked with in the past. Ask people that you think would be a good client. Maybe offer them something for their time. But do some research so you can get really clear on this. And the more you have, the better. So then you can really see where those pillars are going to fall, because you're going to start seeing patterns of like, okay, these different things all fall under nutrition. Like that's definitely going to be one of my pillars. Or it could even be more specific. Like if you're a nutrition coach, your pillars might be intermittent fasting. It might be macro counting and some other tools that you use. I don't know. But it's going to give you that guidance, right? So this is really valuable for you and for building your personal brand and your online business. So once you've done that, put them in groups. If you have more than 5, or you think, even if you have like 4 and you're like, I don't know if this one's really what I want to be known for, you can always put it on the back burner for now. But I would choose 3 to 5. And then if you have more than that, prioritize what's the most important. What things are going to most give them the result that you're promising, that what your niche is, right? Because there might be other things. So maybe you can combine them. So for example, I chose to do digital marketing because at first I had social media marketing, email funnels, websites, landing pages, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest. Like, are those all different things? Well, they can all go together, right? So look at your thing and consider if maybe some of your categories can go together. And then I want you to decide what your 3 to 5 content pillars are and commit to them for at least 6 months. So that is everything I have for today. Tomorrow is our 100th episode of the PrettyAF podcast. So I'm super excited for that. I need to do something special for it. And it's also day 7 of 24 days of personal branding. So like I said, if you haven't signed up for the actual program yet, it's completely free. All you need to do is click the link and put your email and your name, and you'll get access to all of these replays in a nice organized way with all of the workbooks, all the links to each of the podcasts if you want to listen on the go, or you want to re-listen to a lesson. I do that a lot with programs that offer it. Like I work with Shalene Johnson a lot in all her programs. She does an audio version and I'll just replay it to basically like subconsciously memorize things. And sometimes you'll hear different things like every time you listen, and you'll be ready to hear different things each time you go back and listen to something. I've noticed that, like, sometimes you're just not ready to hear something. And then you go back and listen like a year, 2 years later, and you're like, I didn't hear that the first time. So that's why I always like giving lifetime access to everything, because I feel like it can continue to serve you. Or if you ever want to go back and do a pivot, update things, this will be here for you. And if you want more support with any of this, you want one-on-one support, or you want to be in a group type program, you want my eyes on what you're doing, or you want me to help you do it or do it for you, build your personal brand, build your online offers, build your digital online presence, I am here for you. So just apply at the link in the description as well, and we will hop on a call and see if we're a good fit for 2024. And that is all I have for today. I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching this. It really does mean the world to me.